Yo, what it is, Teddy Brewski? What's the deal, Shaquille O'Neal? What's the word, Larry Bird? It's your boy Reactions, man. Remo's Reactions TV. We are back with yet another one. And, the stage is set, y'all. So if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, please. And thank you, man. We try and go up 97% of my people that watch these Jones ain't subscribed. So do me a solid, man. You see that? Just bang. Punch the subscribe button in the face, y'all. You know what I mean? Please and thank you. But the stage is set, man. This is the Karmelo Anthony, situation going on with the white boys. The bullies, the way the media is trying to portray and trying to steer narratives. It's just a diabolical situation. Before we get started, man, shout out to the Most High for another day. We outside. You made it home. You made it to and from, man. It's a blessing, man. So we're going to get to it, man. No further ado. Everything I do is for entertainment, educational purposes. That's my disclaimer, and it is fair use. This is end of sentence material, 1090 Jake. So make sure to show boy some love, man. So let's get to it, man. This is you already know what we on, man. Let's break down some more truth.
Why not notify your parents? You getting ready to run track with other kids and you got a knife on you. No, man, you got to go to jail.
Talking about he had a knife. You damn right. If you a black man living in America, you better be walking around with talking about he had a knife. You got white boys riding around with guns and y'all crying about a knife.
The hard part that cost me is I lost my son, and his brother was holding him, trying to hold the blood in, and he passed. My son watched his brother die in his arms. I need a break.
Jeff, first of all, my entire heart rests in your hands. I would be in my position, not even as somebody even knew your son, but somebody that shares the same understanding. I grew up as a 17-year-old young white man too, and I grew up in fear of my life around black people because they were killing and robbing people around me all the time. And I don't understand, as I was a father, you could sit idly by and not condemn the culture that killed your son.
Are you done?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the problem, my friend.
A confrontation between two teens left one dead and the country divided. In this video, we're going to be breaking down the criminal case of Karmelo Anthony. April 2nd, 2025, it was 10 a.m. when the Staley Middle School resource officer heard over the radio there was a stabbing at the school track field. Frisco police would alert nearby officers an athlete was the victim, and the suspect was a black male wearing a gray hoodie and blue sweatpants. The school officer rushed to the stadium where two teens told him the victim was under the Memorial High School tent. Approaching the tent, an adult would point out the suspect, who remained on the track separated from the officer by a chain-link fence. The officer commanded the suspect to keep his hands in the air, and the suspect complied, saying, "I was protecting myself." As the officer placed the suspect in handcuffs, the suspect said, "He put his hands on me." The officer sat the suspect on the ground while advising backup over the radio. He had the alleged suspect. The suspect then stated, "I'm not alleged, I did it." By this point, the suspect had the right to remain silent. He just didn't have the ability. While walking him to the police vehicle, the suspect became emotional, crying hysterically as he said, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to." While in the back seat, he then asked officers if the victim was going to be okay. The suspect would identify himself as 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, a student from Frisco Centennial High. While this was going on, athletic trainers along with the Frisco Fire Department were attempting to save the victim. The weather turned to a heavy downpour of rain, causing the fire department to place a tent over the victim. A police officer began using his phone to photograph the crime scene, as others began taping off the area and moving non-essential people out of the stadium. Officers were informed the weapon used had been tossed, with a witness stating it was in the bleachers. Officers discovered the folding knife, partially open and still bloody, deciding to cover it with a tarp. An officer grabbed a backpack to weigh the tarp down, noticing it was the only backpack from Centennial High, as all the others were from Memorial. It was later discovered this was the suspect's backpack. The victim, identified as 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, was a Memorial High student. Investigators would learn the stadium was hosting a track and field championship with multiple schools in attendance. The stabbing took place under the Memorial High School pop-up tent in the visitors' bleachers. A witness would tell police he was sitting under the tent with his team and was near his teammate Austin as everything played out. Austin told the suspect, Karmelo, that he needed to move out from under their team's tent. Not only did Karmelo go to a different school, he was under their tent wearing Centennial High clothing. Karmelo grabbed his backpack, opened it, and reached inside telling Austin, "Touch me and see what happens." The witness told officers no one really thought Karmelo had any weapons, so Austin proceeded to touch Karmelo. Karmelo then told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Karmelo to tell him to move, and Karmelo pulled out what the witness described as a black knife, stabbing Austin once in the chest before running away. Austin began grabbing his chest, telling everyone to get help, and shortly after, he'd lose consciousness, stop breathing.
But see, they say the real story is Karmelo was actually coming from another tent, obviously. It started raining, so he got under that tent so he wouldn't get soaking wet. These guys came from a whole nother tent to come over there to tell him to move. Steals off on him, steps on his phone. And for what I'm hearing, I'm not sure if it's 1,000%, but there was never a knife. It was one of the things from the tent, like a, you know, them, what they call them, like a, damn, I'm having a blank. A post, like one of them Johns, like, I don't know, you know. Regardless, like, the man was minding his business, bro. He was not messing with nobody. Yeah, he might, and it was all different schools there. You know what I mean? The media, you got to watch out for them because they try to paint a narrative as if these guys were just innocent and they, you know, dude just decided to wig out and trip out. No, they came over there, told him to leave, try to force him to leave, and that was the scenario. They took his phone, started beating him up, stepped on his phone, and he defended himself. But as time progresses, go to Introvert Rockstar too. He got a lot of great content over there about this situation. But I ain't gonna wrap y'all head off. Hit that like button, man.
And never wake up again. 2 more witnesses were found breathing heavily and crying, one of which was identified as the victim's younger brother. He was unable to say much, but his friends said they were sitting on the bleachers under the Memorial High School tent. A male wearing a different school's clothes came and sat down, so Austin told him since he didn't go to Memorial, he had to leave the tent. While arguing, Austin was stabbed and the suspect ran. Austin's younger brother held on to his older brother as he lost consciousness, bleeding out in his brother's arms. It was 10:46 a.m. when Austin was brought into the trauma bay at the hospital. 7 minutes later, he was pronounced dead. His heart had been pierced and he bled to death. Officers listed student witnesses from Lebanon High, Liberty High, Memorial High, Frisco High, Independence High, and Emerson High. Centennial High's head coach told officers he heard his athlete confess to the stabbing, while 2 coaches from Independence High School witnessed the stabbing. Karmelo Anthony would be charged with first-degree murder and transported to the Collin County Jail. Under Texas law, even at 17 years old, Karmelo could and would be charged as an adult. His bond would be set at $1 million. Immediately following his arrest, social media would divide black versus white. Some of the black community would come to the immediate defense of Karmelo, stating it was purely self-defense and he's only been arrested because of the fact that his victim is white. They'd also claim the victim in this case was the aggressor. While GoFundMe doesn't allow funding lawyers for criminal cases, apparently GiveSendGo does, and over $500,000 has been raised for Karmelo, with a list of donation comments raising concern amongst journalists. One anonymous donation would label Karmelo an anti-bullying hero, a scholar, and a gentleman. A donator named Black Excellence would donate again, stating, "The more these hateful whites show their insecurities and fragilities of losing dominance. Sending love, light, and justice to King Karmelo." Rock from Atlanta would comment, "We are the defenders of our lineage. This is America, and these flat whiteness immigrants from all over the world has always been open enemies towards foundational black Americans from day one. No more." Some in the white community would also speak out, stating this wasn't self-defense, it was flat-out murder. Many would be enraged at the fact that Austin's killer was being praised for being black and killing a white. The donations spoke for themselves, literally. And many have also stated if the races were reversed and the victim was black, there would be riots and looting. Karmelo's actions in Austin's death was now being politicized and used by radicals on both sides to justify prejudice. In simpler terms, it didn't matter who was right or wrong because the ones speaking out don't care about Karmelo or Austin, they care about their own agenda. Things would heat up again on April 14, 2025, when Judge Angela Tucker reduced Karmelo's bond from $1 million down to $250,000. She also agreed to release him based on his clean criminal record and his athletic/academic background. Karmelo would then be released under the conditions he wear an ankle monitor and be supervised by a parent at all times. Judge Tucker's decision would cause her to receive violent and racist threats on
Man, hit that subscribe button, man. Help me get a
private or personal information about her, as they plan to charge those responsible with unlawful disclosure of a resident's address or telephone number and obstruction or retaliation. Karmelo and his family would also be targeted through death threats and harassment. People would visit his home, loitering and taking pictures, while others would make false food delivery orders and send hate mail, including Austin's obituary. It became
no, that's just crazy, yo. Now, like, they forgetting this man's a kid, man.
Common for people to circle the home in their vehicles to essentially provoke fear and intimidation. Karmelo's family would have no choice but to use donation funds to relocate to an undisclosed location.
As they should.
But this harassment wasn't one-sided. Frisco police would receive a phone call reporting a shooting at Austin Metcalf's father's home. Another shooting would be reported at his mother's home. This would happen a total of 3 times, all 3 being fake reports known as swatting, in which an anonymous person contacts police and they respond to what they believe to be a violent situation.
That's crazy.
Swatting has even led to innocent people being killed by police. Austin's father, Jeff, has been making headlines himself as he attempted to make peace with his son's killers.
Now, this dude is just fucking diabolical, man. Excuse my language, but he got on. He had this narrative that he was putting out, this guy, that. Come to look and look at his background, he's a pedophile. Broken home. The kids look from him. He shows up to the fucking conference for that Karmelo and the family having, and try to crash the joint. Police had to get his dumb ass out of there, like still doing the same bully tactics that got his son murdered. And rest in peace to the young dude, man. Like, no, I ain't no like that, but come on, man. Like, this where he get it from.
Family and pray together at a press conference held for Karmelo. Instead, he was escorted out by police, with Karmelo's family apparently uninterested in making amends.
What we seen at the beginning of this press conference, the father being at this press conference, these are my words. Don't quote anybody. Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. That was disrespectful and just shows you all the character. He was not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family.
The main voice speaking for the Anthony family was not actually a member,
You know,
but
I'm surprised by law that he's like they didn't lock him up, because when something like this happens, ain't you supposed to like not have no contact whatsoever with the family, phone calls, emails, text messages, none of that. So the fact that they ain't lock his ass up is just fucking is diabolical to me, man. Man, show up there like, motherfucker, nobody want you here, dude. Sitting there perping on motherfucking on the new, yo, you should see how many interviews the dude did. God this, God that, God this, and then you show up, do this. And then come to find out they look into your background and you're a pedophile, man. Come on, man. Stop playing with me, man. Remo's Reacts TV. Hit that subscribe. We're not playing with these Caucasians.
Describing himself as a minister of justice,
Let's get this clear. There's racist Caucasians and then there's not racist Caucasians. This is directed to the racist Caucasians only. All right? Because I got homeboys that's thorough. And they white. So we ain't doing that.
Civil and human rights activist and supporter of Black Lives Matter. His suit, tie, and slow way of speaking aligns with more of a gimmick from a man with an agenda. Come to find out, Dominique has a long criminal history himself and served prison time for abusing a baby. Back in July of 2000.
Yo, that's crazy. See, I don't understand this. This is all new knowledge to me. Shout out to 1090 Jake. Yo, they dug into his shit. Hold up. Fuck is this boy?
9. He was babysitting his girlfriend's 2-year-old son when he called her telling her to get home now. He didn't tell her why, and when she arrived, the child was unresponsive. He claimed he walked into another room and heard the baby boy fall off the couch as he was watching a movie. When he walked back in, the boy's eyes looked funny, later telling a detective they rolled to the back of his head.
My thing is how the family, the Anthony family, didn't look up his history and know that you know that was his background. That's kind of disturbing to me a little bit.
2-year-old boy was placed in the intensive care unit and discovered to have a subdural hemorrhage at the back of his head, meaning blood around his brain. He also had retinal hemorrhaging, meaning bleeding in both of his eyes. The severity of the boy's injuries were ruled inconsistent with falling off a couch and more consistent with abusive head trauma and physical abuse. Dominique would later plead guilty in this case.
Wow.
Dominique would address his multiple arrests from theft, forgery, stealing a car, making a false police report. The list goes on. He'd say social media would try to shame him, but ended up showing his testimony. That when he first stepped into activism in 2014, he didn't hide who he was, and he was even named Person of the Year for the Dallas Observer's People Edition in 2015. But in 2019, Dominique would be arrested for striking and pushing his girlfriend.
Dominique Alexander, the founder of the Next Generation Action Network, was indicted today on a charge of continuous violence against the family. That's a third-degree felony. He was arrested back in April after his girlfriend, Kiera Saunders, told police Alexander assaulted her. However, in an affidavit filed before today's indictment, Saunders says she doesn't want any part of the prosecution.
Regardless, this was the face of Karmelo Anthony's family, a man whose sole purpose is speaking against so-called about racist police who target black men. He was now taking this opportunity to make Karmelo the victim who had to defend himself against his white attacker. So let's look at the facts. Karmelo was an athlete from Centennial High. During a track and field competition, he chose to sit under an opposing school's tent. Austin was an athlete from Memorial High and confronted Karmelo about being under his.
So that's cap right there. Cause they came, he's not mentioning the fact that they came from a whole nother tent to come over there to check ball. They wasn't under the tent from the beginning. He came over the tent because it started raining and he got under there so he wouldn't get rained on. So he was chilling till the rain calmed the fuck down and he was going to go everywhere the fuck he was going. In the meantime, in between time, them niggas came over there and started pressing him about the tent. Like, what the fuck? It's not like it was at this particular school. Yeah, the tent may have been their team's tent, which is the Metcalf brothers' tent, but bro was just over there. It wasn't like he was just trying. And then nobody was under there like that. You know, that's a narrative, bro. They came from a whole nother motherfucking tent over to him and then told you, why you over here? And then start beating him up and all this and all that. And he wasn't gone. You know, and I don't condone none of this shit. You know what I mean? Cause Karmelo gonna have to live with the rest of his life, you know what I mean, that he killed somebody and bro gone. So, but it could have been avoided if everybody just minded their motherfucking business. Leave him alone. He ain't fucking with you. Yo, like, all right, you know, all that extra shit is out the window. Come on, man.
Team's 10. Austin would grab Karmelo's backpack, telling him to leave, and eventually push Karmelo, while Karmelo would grab his backpack, reaching inside, telling Austin, touch me and see what happens.
You sound worse than the motherfucking police right now, dog. Like, I don't think you got your story straight on this month, on the interaction and all that, cuz. I don't, 1090. You feel me? I'm going to tag you in this bitch, too. Like, I don't think you got it right, dog. It seemed like you motherfucking pushing the narrative.
Austin would continue, which led to Karmelo pulling out the knife and stabbing him. Now, my boy JD DeLay would break down Texas self-defense laws perfectly.
Constitutes lawful self-defense. It's all going to depend on what state you're in because each state has different laws. But for the sake of relevant current events, let's talk about the state of Texas. The state of Texas has the best self-defense laws out of any state in the country. They have stand your ground laws, which means that you do not have to retreat. You're allowed to defend yourself if somebody threatens or physically harms you. But you're only allowed to use proportional violence. So if somebody's coming at you with hands and you shoot them, you could be in a lot of trouble. All depends on the valid and articulable threat that was there at the time. Somebody's coming after you with a gun or a knife, then you are definitely in your realm to be able to use lethal force. However, this does require that you did not instigate the incident and that you are not somewhere that you are not supposed to be. You instigated the incident. If you are somewhere you don't belong or if you use excessive force, self-defense is out the window. Like I said, this is specifically applicable to the state of Texas and their laws, so know the law where you live. Might just save your life or keep your ass out of prison.
In this situation, not only was Karmelo somewhere he wasn't supposed to be, as he didn't go to Memorial High.
See, how is he saying that when the shit was an event that was multiple schools, bro. It wasn't at that school, you fucking idiot. I can't believe this dude. 1090, bro, you gotta do better research, cuz it wasn't at their school. It was at a fucking local, whatever, track joint, where it was multiple schools. He was just under that school's tent. You don't know what you're talking about, nigga.
Should have been with his own team. He was armed with a weapon he wasn't supposed to have. His mere presence during a competition could be seen as provoking an opposing school. After being confronted, Karmelo would reach in his bag saying, touch me and see what happens. The fact that...
Man, where is your resources coming from and who are you getting the information from, bro? And how you know that's fucking accurate? You wasn't there. And I don't know what I'm saying to that, but I'm saying I was getting it from somebody that was there. He came out and spoke. He said them boys came over there and pressed him, started beating him up, tried to jump him, stepped on his phone because he said leave me the fuck alone. It's raining. I'm just chilling right now, and then I'm gonna go on my route. But nah, they bullies. See, you're not mentioning the fact that they known bullies, dude. I didn't once hear you say how much they bully motherfuckers or used to bully motherfuckers. You feel me? You never once mentioned that. 1090 Jake. Come on, bruv. Stop playing with me, man.
Karmelo ran track. If he was in fear for his life, he literally just could have ran. But in a stand your ground case, he doesn't legally have to.
Saying that shit right there is just stupid. Because he ran track, he could have legally ran. You want him to run out into the pouring rain where it's coming down like cats and dogs, dickhead. And then besides, nigga, fuck is you talking about run? Nah, we ain't running nowhere. We standing here. Fool. 1090 Jake, nah, we ain't running nowhere. Why he gotta turn around and run because he run track, nigga? For what? Get your goofy ass out of here. You look at him doing a reaction to your bitch
But
ass
Austin
shit.
wasn't threatening to kill, use a weapon, or even beat him. He was telling him to leave.
Man, fuck what he was talking about. I'm out of here. I don't want to hear this motherfucking mayo no more. Remo's Reaction TV, we out of here, man. Hit that subscribe button, y'all. I love y'all. And we done with this shit. I thought this shit was going to be diabolical, but it ended up being astronomical and mythological. Damn near motherfucking. Yeah, Lex. Yo, this nigga just flipped the whole script. He's like a devil working for them folk. Yeah, sorry, my folks. Sorry, my folks. Yeah, relax. How far? Where'd my brother go? He left. Maybe a book bag or something, bro. Is yours? I can't believe this shit, man. This nigga just goofy. That shit just bust my hole. I shouldn't even react to this nigga video, dog. That shit is crazy. Make sure I ended this dumbass shit. Where'd my little brother go?